Welcome to the Charter Township of Elmwood Planning Commission special meeting convened on Wednesday, January 18th, 2023 at 7 p.m. Please stand and join me in reciting the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Carrie, would you please call the roll?
Dean McDonald.
Here.
Chris Mikowski.
Here.
Rick Bechtold.
Here.
Jeff April.
Here.
Jonah Kuzma.
Here.
And Doug Roberts and Kendra Luda are excused.
Are excused, okay. We have a quorum present, so we can proceed with the rest of our agenda. At this point, I'm going to give our council an opportunity to address the group.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. A couple of preliminary things I need to talk about. It's my understanding and see that Commissioner McDonald is here. He was not present at the public hearing that was held back in December, I believe. Or was
December
it
20th.
The 20th? And so I want some preliminary questions just to make sure that the record is clear with his participation in the balance of these proceedings. You mind if I call you Nate?
That's totally fine.
And obviously you were not present at the public hearing of this matter, correct?
Correct.
And in the meantime, have you had an opportunity to review the videotape of that meeting?
That's correct. I've watched the video.
And you've looked at all of the exhibits that were submitted?
That's correct.
And so do you feel comfortable that you were aware of the information provided either orally at the public hearing or by written documents?
I do feel I'm up to speed.
And you're willing to and able to participate fully for the balance of these proceedings?
I am.
All right, thank you. I think that clarifies the process, that he is up to speed in the same token as the other planning commission members. He may not have heard the testimony live, but obviously he was able to review the tape and review the information, okay?
Okay, thank you. We are at item D, limited public comment.
Mr. Chairman, before you do that, I guess I'd like to address the other preliminary matter.
Yes, thank you.
We received late this afternoon a 39-page document from John Lynch, who is an attorney here in Traverse, outlining some issues that he wanted to bring forward to the Planning Commission. We all know that the Planning Commission public hearing was actually closed following the public hearing back in December. And so the question becomes, do we take this information or do we proceed with the deliberations in this matter? It's become clear to me over the course of reviewing the information that there's information out there that people want to get to the Planning Commission as part of the public hearing. They raise a number of issues related to some of the standards. I also spoke with the fire chief this afternoon about some other issues that related to slope within the drives. And so it is my recommendation, Mr. Chairman, that we reopen the public hearing, but for a limited purpose. Okay? And the limited purposes would be as specified in various sections of your ordinance, and which are issues raised by Mr. Lynch in his letter and the fire chief. We need to be sure that we get information on a timely basis, and so I don't want any more last-minute submittals. So I want to make sure that you get the information, that the Planning Commission has time to review the information before having to consider the matter. And that you look at only a very limited scope of the rehearing or the public hearing be reopened. We're not going to redo everything that was done back in December. So what I have before you is a proposed motion that basically outlines the standards that I think we need to have more evidence on, and it basically says that the Planning Commission wants additional information related to specific standards. And I cite the sections, proposed special land use will be served adequately by facilities and services such as highways and roads, that the proposed special land use will not adversely impact existing or future neighboring uses, that the proposed special land use will meet all requirements of other township, county, state, and federal ordinance and code requirements, and that the specific requirements for the proposed special land use will be controlled to ensure maximum vehicular and pedestrian safety, convenience, and minimum traffic impact on adjacent roads and highways. And then I specifically indicated in the motion that the Planning Commission wants to have information regarding whether the private roads leading to the proposed special land use will be adequate to safely accommodate the traffic that will be generated by the proposed special land use, and whether the roadways within the proposed special land use will comply with all applicable road slope requirements. To that degree, I wanted to lay out a schedule, if you will, for individuals to submit additional information to the zoning administrator. I want to start with staff. Myself and probably the fire chief would be submitting information no later than January the 27th, which is a week from this coming Friday. Members of the public would then submit their information a week later on February the 3rd, and then the applicant would then submit information on February the 10th. After those deadlines are passed, it's extremely important that everybody understand that we're not going to allow additional information. Those are hard and fast cutoffs. So if you don't get your information in by those deadlines, you're SOL, okay? And so we want to be sure that you get the information, and then we want to be sure that we reopen the public hearing for the limited purpose, and I'm proposing Thursday, February the 23rd. That gives you about 2 weeks to actually review all of the information. So you have the information prior to the reopened public hearing, and so you're not seeing documents the night of the public hearing, so that you have an opportunity to give fair consideration to all the information that's submitted. And so that's my proposal. I've discussed my recommended advice with Mr. McKellar, and it's my understanding that he is in agreement with that, and he wanted to make a short statement to that effect.
Yep, please.
That's correct. I spoke with Brian today. We received the information as well. We don't want to try to rush this. They raise concerns that I understand. Although we certainly disagree with the merits of the issue, it does need to be fleshed out on the merits. So we concur with that proposal. We won't object to it. That timeline seems fair to us. We'll provide all the information necessary, and therefore we would ask that you postpone any decision or deliberation this evening and do it on the 23rd, consistent with Brian's recommendation. And we appreciate, again, the comments from the public and your guys' time in this effort. Thank you.
Thank you. With that being shared with the group, I am prepared to make a motion that the contents of the memo received from council be implemented in tonight's meeting, and that we adhere to the sections and subsections identified in this, as well as the timelines identified for submittals from the public and review by the Planning Commission.
I believe the members of the Planning Commission have a copy of my proposed motion. If whoever wants to read it, I've kind of read it in my explanation.
I'll prepare. The motion has the following contents. A, the Planning Commission finds that it desires additional information related to the following special land use approval standards. A sub 1, section 9.3.A.4, that the proposed special land use will be served adequately by facilities and services such as highways and roads. A sub 2, section 9.3.A.5, that the proposed special land use will not adversely impact existing or future neighboring uses. A sub 3, section 9.3.8.8, that the proposed special land use will meet all requirements of other township, county, state, and federal ordinance and code requirements, and A sub 4, section 9.3.8.9, that the specific requirements for the proposed special land use will be controlled to ensure maximum vehicular and pedestrian safety, convenience, and minimum traffic impact on adjacent roads and highways. B, to obtain the desired additional information as specified above, the Planning Commission hereby reopens the public hearing in this matter for the limited purpose of receiving additional information concerning whether the applicant has complied with the above specified approval standards. In particular, the Planning Commission desires to obtain information concerning both of the following. B sub 1, whether the private roads leading to the proposed special land use will be adequate to safely accommodate the traffic that will be generated by the proposed special land use. B sub 2, whether the roadways within the proposed special land use will comply with all applicable road slope requirements. C, to proceed in an orderly manner so that the Planning Commission has adequate time to consider this additional information and to eliminate last-minute submittals. C sub 1, township staff shall submit information to the zoning administrator related to the above specified approval standards no later than January 27th, 2023. C sub 2, members of the public shall submit information to the zoning administrator related to the above specified approval standards no later than February 3rd, 2003. C sub 3, the applicant shall submit information to the zoning administrator related to the above specified approval standards no later than February 10th, 2023. D, once the above deadlines have passed, no other information may be submitted and no other information will be considered by the Planning Commission in rendering its decision in this matter. E, the reopened public hearing for the limited purposes specified above shall be held on Thursday, February 23rd, 2023 at 7 p.m. at the Elmwood Charter Township Hall located at 10090 East Lincoln Road, Traverse City, Michigan. And that is the text of the motion that I'm offering.
I would second that motion then. If you're making it, I'll second it.
Before there is a vote on the matter, I just want to make sure that all of our commissioners can make that meeting.
I was just gonna get to that. I will be gone for that, so I'll be just getting back on that day, still traveling.
I'm open to changing the date if we need to.
Okay.
I'm
I'm available, but I think we should try and have,
We would be back the 23rd, so the 24th.
24th, I could do it, yeah, on a Friday, if need be. If you wanna keep it on that same week. All things being equal and getting home, of course.
Make a late night on Friday.
mhm.
Could people move into their microphone a little closer so we can hear?
We're just trying to discuss
Sorry,
a
Mike.
date.
Yeah, we're just discussing a date amongst the commissioners, so I may have to amend the motion I just made to have the correct date.
Okay, thanks.
Would Monday or Tuesday, the 27th, 28th be better?
That would be better for me.
The following week, yeah.
Tuesday would be the best day for
The
me.
28th?
Brian, can you make the 28th?
I'll make it work. The only thing that could throw a snag into it is I have a grandbaby due about that day. But COVID won't let me go into the hospital anyway, so.
Yeah.
Okay, so I am amending my motion to, on E, it now reads, the reopened public hearing for the limited purposes specified above shall be held on Tuesday, February 28th, 2023 at 7 p.m. at the Elmwood Charter Township Hall located at 10090 East Lincoln Road, Traverse City, Michigan. That is the
I'll-
amendment to my motion.
And to me, that's a friendly amendment. I would agree with that amendment.
We have support for the motion. Any further discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, opposed? The motion is carried. So, essentially, these conditions that are contained in this motion will be the rules we will follow for reopened public comment tonight. So we're just going to be taking public comment on these specific issues this evening.
Mr. Chairman, if I could correct you, we really don't want to take public comment on those issues because that should be part of the reopened public
Oh,
hearing.
the reopened public hearing, okay, excuse me.
What,
Okay.
what public comment is really for is for members of the public to address questions or things with the planning commission that are unrelated to your public hearing process. And so if they want to talk about the zoning ordinance or whether your meeting should be on a Thursday as opposed to a Friday or whatever, unrelated topics, that's really the purpose of the public comment. Anything related to the merits of whether this particular special use permit should be approved or not should be approved, or not approved, should be limited and given at the redone public hearing on February the 28th.
Okay.
Reopened, not redone.
The reopened.
Okay,
On
thank
the-
you.
the limited reopening,
I
yeah.
didn't mean to misspeak. I guess I was looking at, we're going to be moving into limited public comment only on the agenda items, and I didn't know if we wanted to grant any latitude, or should I just adhere to,
I would recommend on your future agendas that you don't put a limited, you could be on agenda items other than public hearings, because you want to be sure that the public comments for a particular, whether it's this special use or some other special land use, all of the public comments related to a particular case before the planning commission should come in during that agenda item, not during public comment.
Okay.
That's an entirely different process.
okay. So, we are bound a little bit by our bylaws with this particular format, but I think in light of the interest and the number of people that came out tonight, I think just,
Understand that what they tell you is not going to be part of the record that you're going to use
Right.
to make your decision.
right, okay.
So they'll have that opportunity.
They'll- yes,
On
and-
the 28th.
Right, on the 28th, we will have another public comment session.
Be a public hearing.
Once the public hearing is reopened.
Right.
So, in just in keeping with our noticed agenda this evening, I will open public comment at 7:18. If you wish to make a public comment, please come to the podium. We really appreciate it if you give us your name, so if we needed to do a follow-up with your concern, we would know who was speaking versus watching the film and having people try to identify you.
You might clarify that public comment one more time.
Yeah. The public comment tonight is not specific to the hearing because we haven't reopened the hearing. The public comment, for example, could be on wording in an ordinance or the poor quality of our microphones if we're not close enough to them. So, I mean, it's really good to see so many people coming out tonight, and I know that this is a high-interest topic, so if you want to say something, please come up and share that with us during the public comment period.
My name's Sherry Bookbinder, and I live on East Timberwoods Drive. But I'd just like to thank you all for being of service to the community. And I've been reading through a lot of the, zoning ordinances and the different planning things that people have done over the years. And there's a lot of work that went into that. And I just wanted to say thank you. And I noticed that there's a theme, to protect our county. And I appreciate that very much as well. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Anyone else wishing to speak at this time? Good.
I'm always in the back, but I guess it's worth it, right? My name is Steve Strong. I live in Blue Ridge Lane. And I would like to find out where they're going to get the water they're going to use for all this. Because from what I know is we don't have enough water to even build another house in this area. And also, what roads are they coming in on? Anybody know?
Well, that will be, made available, that will be more evident at the public hearing. So we're just, this is the public comment now is just sort of
Okay,
a one-way where we hear from you.
all right. But where are they getting their water from? Anybody know? You? Anyone?
We're not,
Public comment is
Yeah, we don't
intended for-
comment back, we just listen.
Oh, I see,
Yeah,
I
yeah,
see.
no, this,
Okay,
yeah.
all right.
Yeah, this is just your chance to speak at us, and we just sort of
Yeah.
don't say anything unless I have to rule somebody out of order for not following the rules.
Okay, well, that's not gonna come yet.
Okay, thank you.
I guess if I may, it
Yeah.
also might be worth noting that information is available online on our website. This includes the narrative, plans, and everything. I would encourage that you review that information that's been made publicly available since November 15th. Sorry.
I have a brief public comment. Gary Bergstrom. I live on Blue Ridge Lane too. And I don't want to get into the merits of the thing. I didn't even know about this when the first hearing came, even though I own a quarter mile of land that abuts along East Timberwoods. What I want to ask, though, is the motion tonight, by definition, I assume, is a public document. Can we get copies of that motion so we can make our arguments accurately addressed to that?
Yes.
Okay.
I-
Thank you, that's it. Oh, I wanted to thank you, too, as the last one, two speakers ago did. You guys do a lot of work here, and I wouldn't want to be in your shoes. It's tough. Thanks.
Thank you. Sarah, just a quick note, we can have one of these available with the corrected dates?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Anyone else wishing to speak?
I think you guys saw me last night.
Yes.
I'm going to say the same thing on this one, addressing some questions here. There's only one way to get water to this place, and that's from the Cedar Swamp area, which goes from Cedar, Victoria Creek, all the way to Lake Leelanau, which is one of the biggest wetlands that we actually have in Leelanau County. Deer migrate through there, everything migrates through there. There's absolutely only one way in and one way out of this place. There's absolutely no room for light pollution, anything else. I mean, you can put some houses up there, it's fine, but not what I've seen online. It is absolutely unacceptable. And that's my final answer. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, sir.
I'm Renee Fineout, and we've been there on East Timberwoods for like going on 23 years. And we bought there because it was private and quiet. And what is all this going to impact? How does that change our road from being private to it's going to be a public road? Or is it going to stay private? And, you know, the impact that it's gonna have on those of us that have bought there for privacy. So, that's about all. Thank you very much for all you're doing.
Thank you.
Hi, Greg Thomas, 11222 South Cottonwood Drive. I was wondering if we could have a couple of questions answered, perhaps by the Planning Commission. Specific to Timberwoods Drive, there is some limited use restrictions on there for fire department vehicles, utility companies, businesses, governmental agencies, and/or property owners, their representatives, guests, and invitees. I was hoping that someone would show us the distinction between a guest or invitee and actually public at large. So anybody that might be entering into the East Timberwoods Drive area, that would be from the general public, not invited to the area specifically. If we can get a definition or get that defined for us, we'd sure appreciate it. Other than that, though, thank you for your work. Appreciate it.
Thank you. Anyone else wishing to speak at this time?
Good evening, and I'd like to echo the sentiments of others and thank you all for your time. I know it's a bit of a thankless job, so thank you for your performing your civic duty. One comment or question, and I'll address this also to the audience here, is a review of the zoning ordinance. For any powers the township has to demand that the developer set aside money to pay for experts to be hired to assess environmental impact. I know in their plan there is some environmental impact statements based on vegetation, groundwater, and surface runoff. However, I feel these are highly inadequate considering the scope of the project. And I would urge this township, if necessary, to pay out of pocket of the budget of the township to hire independent third-party environmental consultants on all of those fronts for groundwater, runoff, and septic. As we know, it is the highest point around us. Everything is going to enter into Lake Leelanau, including the Cedar Swamp. There's no two ways around it. And the plans that I saw for groundwater retention are woefully inadequate and woefully under-described in their document and their planning, as are the uses of groundwater. They are going to use the existing well, it says, highly inadequate for the volume of water they need. That also, we know that groundwater is the water table around Lake Leelanau. That water table is connected to our community well. Who in this township or Grand Traverse County is going to pay when our well needs to be re-drilled to reach lower groundwater levels, which will inevitably happen? Thank you very much, and I would urge those of you in attendance to review the ordinance bylaws. And again, if those are not present, that the developer has to do that, that you do include in your written comments that the township pay for those consultants to come out and conduct those assessments. Thank you.
Thank you.
My name is Jeff Dorish from 7622 East Timberwoods Drive. I really appreciate you guys opening this up for public comment again. I think that's a good idea. I mean, part of it was I was unprepared for the first meeting just because I had such short notice. I feel like others in the neighborhood should have been noticed that, you know, it directly impacts people that are living along that road, and we weren't given notice. And then now we've got somebody who's making some very valid arguments about environmental concerns. I would say, given how important this is, I would like to see the public comment open it up for more than just these limited things. I know that we have an attorney that gave some useful information today, but there's other useful information out there that people have that they just didn't have time to prepare or didn't get a good enough notice about this. And this is, for some of the people here today, this is the first they heard of it. They didn't hear about the first meeting. So I feel like it should be opened up for more public comment and not be limited. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hello, my name is Kevin Gillespie. I'm right on the border of Elmwood and Solon Township, so I am a Timberlea resident. So I live on South Mount Josh, and it came aware to us that our neighbor, again, I'm addressing this to well levity. So
No, actually, you address it to the chair.
Okay, so here's my question. So we know Well Levity has a pending offer on additional neighboring 130 acres in Solon Township, just west of this said property. Can you help us understand why are they not being transparent and show us your full development plans? And again, I'm coming at this from more of a holistic aspect of this resort is not just an Elmwood Township issue, it impacts 2 townships and all of its taxpayers. All these pending issues are extremely concerning for both townships and the residents. We need to bring all the data to the forefront so our elected officials can collectively make informed decisions. That's it.
Thank you.
My name is Doug Cole. I live at Cottonwood Condos. I'm going to reserve several comments I have until the public, or till the public hearing, whatever you call it.
The public hearing.
Yeah. Is open again. But between now and then, I would like to suggest that the Planning Commission consider an additional traffic study focusing on East Timberwoods Drive, an independent study, not one that is hired by Well Levity, but one that you guys select, and focusing on East Timberwoods Drive and the related attaching roads, without all the focus on 641, Bugай, Cherry Bend, and Fouch. We're concerned about the traffic on our easements, our private easements. I know that in the past, at least I'm pretty sure in the past, that the Planning Commission or Elmwood Township has required independent traffic studies. I think one was done with McDonald's several years ago. So there is a precedence for this, and I'd like to see that taken care of prior to this January 28th deadline or whatever it is. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Well, thank you for your comments. We'll have one more opportunity at the end of the night for any additional comments. So I will close the first session of public comment at 7:32. We are at item E, agenda modifications and approval. Commissioners, please review the agenda and determine if it can be approved as presented or if there need to be any modifications.
I would say, if we're not going to deliberate this evening, we don't need item GA. We need that. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Correct.
So I would, sorry, item GA would be deleted and put back on the agenda for the February 28th meeting. Does that make sense?
Yes. So.
And to clarify, the motion that was made earlier, that, I mean, we wouldn't need to add anything other,
Microphone, please.
we wouldn't need to add anything further regarding, you know, how deliberations would occur at the, okay, I just wanted to make sure. Thank you.
You're reopening the public hearing, and then once the reopened public hearing is closed, then you'll go on to deliberations.
So, Commissioner April, were you
So-
making that in form of a motion to?
I just wanted to get clarification. Yes, I'd make a motion that we accept the agenda as printed, except for item GA, which we will postpone. What's the correct term?
You just delete it from this agenda.
We delete it from the agenda.
Delete it from the agenda and have it be placed on the February 28th meeting agenda.
We have a motion on the floor to delete item GA from the agenda dated January 18, 2023, and have the item GA moved to the agenda for the February 28th meeting.
Second that.
We have support. Any further discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? The motion is carried. G8 is deleted from this agenda. Item H, discussion on zoning ordinance. Do we have any information? So, nothing there. Item I, comments from chair. First off, I would like to thank the community for coming out tonight. I appreciate your interest and your willingness to work together as a community to represent your interests. And we appreciate the commission appreciates the fact that you appreciate what we do. That means a lot to us. A lot of adjectives there in one sentence. But no, we want to work in the best interests of everyone. Sometimes it's very difficult, but we just appreciate the interest of the community. We appreciate the presenters who are well prepared and thorough, and I just want to compliment everyone on the demeanor at which is present at the meeting tonight. I know that this is a very high interest issue, and with high interest come high emotions, and sometimes with high emotions, there's not quite the decision-making that should occur. But I just want to compliment you all on how well things have gone tonight. Thank you. Comments from planning commissioners?
My comments would be the same as Rick's. I'm very impressed with everybody's demeanor, everybody's ability to stay calm. And I guess the only other thing is I want to say I'm sorry that we have to postpone this for another month, but it gives us all another chance to look at it. So with that, we'll plan to see you on February 28th.
Thank you. Comments from staff?
None.
Okay. We are at the second public comment session, and according to our bylaws, this is the sort of open topic public comment, but I'm going to add just a little caution to that. Remember that we are going to have a reopened public hearing on February 28th. There are some specific things that can be commented on, so there will be another chance. So everybody in this room should have written in their planner or on their wrist that the meeting's going to be February 28th at 7 p.m. right here. So the second public comment period is open at 7:37. Seeing no one coming forward, I will close the second public comment period at 7:38. And we are at adjournment, and we will need a motion for that.
Make a motion to adjourn.
We have a motion to adjourn.
Support?
We have support. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. We are adjourned at 7:38 p.m. Safe travels home, everyone, and thank you for being here tonight.